And so the other day, when I was driving home from school, actually, I was driving to school. I always have random conversations with my kid, and usually it sparks all kinds of interesting, weird stuff. And I was explaining to my kid about how people survive literally off of just the sun, just sunlight. It's a whole thing. It's called breatharism, or in idea. In idea. I might be saying it wrong, but he didn't believe me, and I was like, "Look, you can look it up. Google it on your phone." I'll Google it too, and I found the wiki page, and I was like, "Man, this should actually make some interesting content for me to go through the wiki page live on Twitch." But this video will also be on YouTube, a little bit more edited. But you guys get to see the knowledge being gathered live while I get this. So, what is inedia? That's the question. So, when you go to the wiki page here, let me make this actually bigger so we can see here what we got going on here. Boom, 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 bow. There we go. Now y'all can read. Inedia is the claimed ability for a person to live without consuming food, in some cases, water. It is a pseudoscientific practice, and 7 adherents of these practices have died from starvation or dehydration. So, right off the rip, yes, people do try doing this. People do try to like survive off the sun, but off rip, it's like probably not the best idea to try to survive off of this. And this is not. I'm not a doctor, but I think you need a lot more than sunlight to survive. But let's read a little bit more about this and see what else it has to say. The scientific assessment says documented studies on the physiological effects of food restriction clearly show that fasting for extended periods leads to starvation, dehydration, and eventual death. Now, that should be obvious to you guys. If it's not obvious, I don't know what to tell you. If you're able to live without food and water, then you shouldn't be on this planet. But breatharians claim that their bodies do not consume these reserves while fasting. That's what it says right here. So there's the claim that basically their body is able to store all these reserves somehow, like some type of magical storage pack for like food, like a bear almost, like when bears hibernate. Their glycogen and their body fat and their muscles are all retained during this situation, and I find that kind of hard to believe. I find that pretty hard to believe. But we're gonna talk about who even came up with this, or like the pioneers of breatharianism, and how we even got to this point, because someone had to figure this out, right? Someone had to be like, I wonder if I could survive off of the sun. I wonder how that would go. So some breatharians have submitted themselves to medical testing, including a hospital observation of the Indian mystic Prahlad Jani, who appearing to survive without food or water for 15 days. However, the hospital Jani attended had not published official documentation about the event. In other cases, people have attempted to survive on sunlight alone, only to abandon the effort after losing a large percentage of their body weight. And I think that is painfully obvious if you're out here trying to, live off the sun. I think at some point in time you're going to be like, man, I think I want a burger. And you've heard about people like fasting for like a long extended period of time. Gandhi was famous for his long fast, but he did that in protest, et cetera, so forth. So it's not like outside of the realm of possibility to be like, oh, I'm going to fast. But the logic of breatharianism, or nedia, is the idea that you survive solely off of the light of the sun. Now, who are some of these people who have done this? Let's take a look here. We have, I'm going to butcher this, by the way, in terms of pronunciation, but it is what it is. We have the hold on, the Rosicrucianism text, Kamate de Gabalis, attributed the practice to the physician, if I can read it right, and cultist Paracelsus, who described as living several years by taking only 1/2 a scruple of solar quintessence. Quintessence. That's what I'm gonna name my next kid. Quintessence. That's a cool word. Anyways, in this book, it is also stated that the Paracelsus affirms that he has seen many of the sages of the past 20 years without eating anything whatsoever. That's cap. So they were capping, basically. A lot of cap going on there. What about this dude here? We got Joss Moon Heen, born Ellen Grieve, was a prominent advocate of Breatharism in the 1990s. She said, I can go for months and months and months without having anything at all other than a cup of tea. My body runs on a different kind of nourishment. Interviews found her house stocked with food, though. So wait a second. She was being like, yo, I can go months for months and months and months without any kind of food other than some green tea or some black tea, depending on what time of day it is. I don't need nothing else. So then they went to her house and they found that the food was all over the place, that she had mad food. But she claims that the food was actually her husband and her daughters. So maybe, but I mean, you can't be out here in the streets being like, yeah, I don't eat for months. And then we go to your house and you got like a whole full pantry full of Ritz crackers and Oreos. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Anyways, Jazz Muheen stated that she found it difficult on the third day of the test because the hotel room in which she was confined was located near a busy road. And so this is a test that they did on 60 Minutes, where they tried to test her for 1 week straight to see if, oops, what did this do here? There you go. 1 week straight, 60 Minutes. Like, he's basically the Australian version of 60 Minutes, because of course this is in Australia. And they tried to test her for a week straight to see if she could actually pull this off. And it turns out that she was capping. She said that she found it difficult on the third day of the test because the hotel room in which that she was in, like the room, was too much stress and pollution, and that prevented absorption of the required nutrients that she needed from the air. So basically she's saying that the room was too musty and dusty for her to do her sun absorption thing. But what I don't understand is that, like, I feel like you would just kind of have to be outside anyways, right? But she said that I guess the nearby road had too much pollution in the air, so she couldn't absorb the nutrients. So she tried to ask for fresh air, according to this. It says, I asked for fresh air. 70% of my nutrients come from fresh air, and I couldn't even breathe. And then she said, on the third day, the test was moved to a mountainside retreat where her condition continued to deteriorate. So Jazz Muheen here was like, yo, this air is ass. I need better air. Can you give me some better air? I need air that I can air up. And so they're like, all right, bet. We'll go ahead and put you in a mountain house on top of a mountain with the freshest air possible straight from the clouds. We'll put you inside a cloud if you want. Just stop BSing us. And so they did that, and her condition continued to deteriorate, clearly suggesting that she was capping. So after 4 days, Barris Wink, who was the president of the Queensland branch of the Australian Medical Association, basically told her that she needs to quit. Cut that shit out. We ain't about to have you die on our dime. You got yourself a free vacation in the mountains for a couple days, and clearly you're lying. But according to Wink said that Jazz Muheen's pupils were dilated, her speech was slow, and she was quite dehydrated, probably over 10%, getting up to 11%. Towards the end of the test, her pulse is about double about when it started, and the risk if she goes any further would be kidney failure. So basically, the cap was pretty damn high. Pretty damn high on the cap. The cap was top tier cap, because for her to be able or be that damaged from just 4 days in the perfect conditions suggests that she obviously wasn't surviving off the sun. So Jazz Muheen got exposed. And what's funny about this, as I continue to read this, because we're all reading this in real time, baby. I didn't plan any of this. We just read this because it sounded interesting. Jazz Muheen was rewarded the Bent Spoon Award by Australian skeptics in 2000, presented to the perpetrator of the most preposterous piece of paranormal or pseudoscientific piffle. She also won the 2000 IG Nobel Prize for Literature for Living on Light. which I'm assuming is a book that she wrote. And then Jazz Muheen claims that their beliefs are based on the writings and more recent channel material from Saint Germain. She stated that some people's DNA has expanded from 2 to 12 strands to absorb more hydrogen. When offered $30,000 to prove her claim of a blood test, she said she did not understand the relevance as she was not referring to herself. She said somebody out there could do it. She said somebody out there is capable of doing it, but that person is not me. So if you're thinking it would be, you thought I was gonna do that? You thought, oh no, there's somebody out there. Y'all can go find them. What's funny is that she got mad at rewards, man. They gave her the Bent Spoon Award, which is an amazing title, by the way. The Bent Spoon Award. Get the reference, it's a Matrix reference, guys. You guys didn't get that. The Bent Spoon Award by the Australian Skeptics. And she got the Nobel Prize for her book, Living on, the IG Nobel Prize. I'll make sure I say that, for her book, Living on Light. So she was pulling down awards, man. Pulling down awards. That's a pretty crazy story. But what about Wiley Brooks? We're going to read about Wiley Brooks here. So Wiley Brooks was the founder of the Breatharism Institute of America. He was first introduced to the public in 1980 when he appeared on the TV show That's Incredible. Brooks stopped teaching shortly before his death in 2016 to devote 100% of his time on solving the problem as to why he needed to eat some type of food to keep his physical body alive and allow his light body to manifest completely. Brooks claims to have found 4 major deterrents, which basically came down to people pollution, food pollution, air pollution, and electro pollution. So, there's different types of pollution bosses out there, like almost like Power Rangers, where they have like the different bosses. It's almost like that are keeping us from being able to absorb the light, right? Or the way that would make us be able to survive off the light. So apparently there's something that needs to be worked out there. I don't know what the logistics are. I don't know. But that's the issue. It's all this different pollution in the air. I guess at some point this pollution didn't exist and we were able to do it. But I don't know. But this dude got caught in 1983 eating a Twinkie and a 7-Eleven with a Slurpee and a hot dog. He was leaving in Santa Cruz 7-Eleven, and someone saw him being like, "Aren't you the dude who survives off of sunlight?" And he was literally eating a hot dog and Twinkies. And he told Colors Magazine in 2003 that he periodically takes breaks from fasting with a cheeseburger and a cola, explaining when he was surrounded by junk culture and junk food, consuming them adds balance. Now, I'll tell you what, that's some cap. I'm actually curious to see what Wiley Brooks looks like. Let me see if I can find a photo of Wiley Brooks real quick, because I'm thinking that this dude is overweight. That's just the vibe. I might be wrong. Let's see. Wiley Brooks. I'll put Breatharism and see if I can find him on the thing. Because I bet you he large. The vibes say that he large. He black? Oh, he black. Oh shit, I wasn't expecting him to be a black dude. Apparently he's a black dude. If this is him, I'm just gonna give a good photo of him here. I'll let you. Oh, there's a song. I think this is him. Of course, there's not like the best photo of him, but I believe that this is what he looks like. So I was wrong. He's not. He wasn't fat. He's actually black. Black people got superpowers though, so I don't know. Maybe he might be onto something with that. He might be onto something with that. And he was like, you know what? I gotta find a balance, man. I can't be out here just like surviving off the sun every once in a while. I gotta throw a cheeseburger in there. You know what I'm saying? Because if I don't eat the cheeseburger, balance. So he later claimed that all McDonald's are constructed on properties that are protected by fifth dimensional high energy spiritual portals, encouraging the consumption of Diet Coke and McDonald's double quarter pounders with cheese meals. It is acceptable to combine 2 quarter pounders with cheeseburgers to make 1 double quarter pounder if you can't get a double quarter pounder with cheese where you live. So it almost feels like this dude got bought out. It almost feels like McDonald's saw this dude coming out of McDonald's and they're like, this is an opportunity. We could just run this guy a bag and be like, yo, I know you be surviving off the sun, but we see you eating those McDonald's cheeseburgers. What if we made the Wiley meal or something like that, where you get the double quarter pounder meal, Wiley Brooks meal, and you get double quarter pounder with a Diet Coke, some fries. You know what I'm saying? He also suggests that you don't drink water at all of any kind. He says don't drink water. The idea of separate but interconnected 5D and 3D worlds was a major part of Brooks' ideology. And Brooks encouraged his followers to not only eat these special 5D foods, as well as meditate on the set of magical 5D words. He's saying that you got to eat these special 5D foods that only exist through McDonald's, because McDonald's builds their properties on interdimensional portals. This sounds like some Meow Wolf type shit, honestly. Like, I didn't know it got that deep, but it kind of explains maybe that's why McDonald's is so successful, because they tap into the interdimensional portals of McDonald's. I didn't know that. That's some new information. Anyways, the thing that's crazy about that concept is the fact that the thing about Breatharism is that it's connected to the spirit, right? So you're supposed to be doing a lot of meditation. There's also the concept of like sunbathing your booty hole. That's a whole thing, and that's how you get energy directly, because your booty hole has like certain cells around it that absorb stuff better, which is like the whole concept behind boofing, like putting drugs up your butt and stuff like that, because the drugs are absorbed faster through your butt. So if you go out every morning and stick your butt up in the air, you can absorb the light from your butt, and then you can, I guess, live off of that. I don't know the exact science behind it, but the point is that you can totally survive off the sun according to these people, and the whole dimensional spiritual aspect of it is a big part of it. So this guy saying that McDonald's are built on these spiritual lands or portals, I guess, make their food special, which I guess circumvents the rule of absorbing sunlight, because the quarter pounder is built in a portal. What's crazy about it is that there's like thousands of McDonald's. So are all McDonald's built on a spiritual portal? If so, there's a lot of spiritual portals out there. I feel like a plethora. So we're also gonna learn about Ray Moore. Or Mayor. We're skipping a few things because you all can obviously go read the wiki yourself. In a television documentary produced by Israel Television, so The Real Face, host Ayman Levy, a Israeli practitioner of Inedia, I can't read today, appeared to survive without food or water for 8 days and 8 nights. According to the documentary, he's restricted to a small villa and placed under constant video surveillance with medical supervision that included daily blood testing. The documentary claimed that Mayor was in good spirits throughout the experiment, and that he lost about 17 pounds after 8 days. The blood test showed no change before, during, or after experiments, and the cardiologists were baffled. So Ray Mayor seemingly is the only person out of all these that I've read so far, and I might have to go back and read some more, but he seems to be one of the only few to actually, I guess, practice this and be successful with no type of detrimental things happening to him spiritually or physically or mentally. So that's cool. But what about Breatharism and the idea of surviving off the sun in like religion and stuff? So different religions have different thoughts on it. You have the Hindus, the Taois, Jainism. The Taois are like, Bigu, which is grain avoidance, is a fasting technique with different interpretations. And basically, they're all just different versions of fasting. And then the concept of like fasting and, intermittent fasting is actually really healthy for you if you do it in a way that's safe. It could actually you lose a bunch of weight, et cetera, and so forth. And a lot of these different traditions are practiced throughout religion. And so, all in all, sun gazing is actually another concept that's attached to this. And with sun gazing, it's basically like the process of being a Breatharism. So sun gazing is when you wake up in the morning and you stare at the sun, like literally just stare at the sun. And the idea, now obviously the things that I'm saying right now, do not try these at home, obviously, unless you want to try them. Actually, I don't give a fuck. But the point is that you wake up early in the morning, or you do this at sunset. You go barefooted into your grass or your backyard, and as the sun is rising, you stare into the sun. And this is supposed to be, especially if you're barefooted on the ground, your feet are grounded to the ground, which allows the energy of the sun to create a current of energy that's supposed to feed you, etc., so forth. Now, there's a lot of obvious things wrong with this thing that I'm explaining, and we're going to talk about this, including, damage to the eyes from ultraviolet radiation can be serious and permanent due to damage to the retina. It could cause all kinds of stuff that make you want to get cataract surgery, photodynamic therapy, photosensitizing medications. Basically, the idea is that you probably shouldn't stare at the sun. But there's all kinds of studies and people doing this stuff for the sake of being able to survive without eating food. Now, for me, I don't understand it. Food is delicious. I love to eat. Eating is one of my favorite things to do as a person. I love to eat good food. And I think that's, as a human, I think that's one of the coolest things that you can experience is the ability to just eat like a big old fatty cheeseburger or something like that. But, there's people out there who are just like, no, fuck all that. I don't want food in my body. I'd rather survive off of the death rays of the sun. But if you're into breatharianism, that's cool. Maybe leave a comment below and let me know more about it, because I find this super fascinating. But otherwise, I would say unless you're an expert like my man Moore over here, you probably should actively avoid trying to survive off the sun. I might be wrong, though. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'll be back with more videos. Shout out to my Twitch fam. I think there's 4 of you over there. Twitch fam, all 4 of y'all. Subscribe over there on Twitch if you want to see these live. Otherwise, you might be watching this on YouTube, where I cut out some stuff. I got a phone call midway through. You didn't see that on YouTube, but you saw it on Twitch. So if you want to see cool stuff like that, like me getting called by spam, hit me up on Twitch. Otherwise, I'll see y'all later. Peace out, bitches.